Woo! Hello, my name is Ray, and today we are going to talk about Clip Studio Paint. Yeah. Hi, it's been a few weeks since I did a strictly art video. I wanted to try and experiment a little bit with the styles of videos I could make and see what I liked, so the yellow art boy is back for now. Hello. But let me today do a proper introduction to my main art program. I went a little bit over this on the initial guide to digital art video that I did a few months ago, where I talked about what tablets you should buy and stuff. Let's actually explore that in more detail and talk about why Clip Studio is so specialized, why it's good, and why people who use it think it's the best thing ever. So, cue the thing. Clip Studio Paint, also known as God's gift to artists, is a program developed by a company called Celsius. It didn't always used to be called Clip Studio though. Back in the dark ages of 2001, when the first drawing tablets were crafted from pure fucking stone, it was marketed as Manga Studio outside of Japan, also affectionately called whatever this word is, Kurishita. I'm not gonna butcher words. Although the program initially gained traction in Japan because it had all the good stuff that brought all the mangakas to the art, it now exists as a full-on artist's professional package that can arguably be said to be beating Photoshop's and Adobe's best in more ways than one. So, in case you are someone who's just getting into digital art or someone who's just looking to escape the hell of like subscription pandemonium, CSP is a great software. These days, Clip Studio Paint is available pretty much all over the place on everything from tablets to computers to Chromebooks to even on your phone. I don't know why I cussed there, it was unnecessary. It comes in a few different versions though. There's Debut, which is a very basic beta version of beta. I'm beta in the meme format, not actually a beta version. And secondly, there's a thing called Clip Studio Pro, which is a bit better and which is suited for most people. EX is the big boy software for Clip Studio, and that is the most expensive as well. It's quite good. Debut and Pro are perfect for people who are just getting into digital art, and while EX is awesome if you can grow 2 extra arms because of the sheer amount of shit it has like packed inside it, like everything from animation to fanzine covers to illustration to 3D models. It's nuts. Enough gushing about the thing though, let's actually get into what we can do with the thing. Alright, let me move myself to the side so you can actually see the thing. When you open Clip Studio, you'll be greeted with this thing, and this is a bit of a custom layout, but you'll be greeted with something very similar. You have your drawing tools, your standard comic brush, specific tools like panel shapes and callouts. I have like to have my brush sizes over here too, so I can like group it. And pen properties, navigator, subviews for references, and layers, of course. So outside of that, when you first open the software, let's talk about how you start drawing. So obviously you go to the new file thing, and then you make a new file, and then depending on your graphics tablet, you might have a hard time or an easy time getting used to getting the basic like hand-eye coordination stuff down. um, but that's not really important. Let's talk about like I'll just do a drawing so like you can get a better idea. I mean, you've seen me do this before, and I'm sure you've seen other people do this certainly, because there's like a million tutorials on this software. So I'm not going to actually do a tutorial. I'll just talk over a video and tell you why this software is special, and like kind of point out the better features you might see in it, as opposed to something like Photoshop or Procreate or Infinite Paint or Corel Draw or anything. But like keep in mind that like most software can be utilized by someone who knows how to use them to the same degree. And if you think that the software itself is going to make you like improve drastically, it's probably not. It's just going to make it easier for you to improve. Clip Studio is good at that specifically because it has a lot of specialized tools, but you could theoretically and very obviously do most of the stuff with Photoshop. The reason I like Clip Studio and the reason I'm making this video in the first place is because it I feel like out of all the software that are available all across platforms, so not something like Procreate where it's only exclusive to one platform. Clip Studio is the most accessible and the most like streamlined experience of a art program that can somehow make itself be extremely interesting, useful, and quite capable, whilst also being easy to learn. So, in the spirit of this video actually being a learning thing and intro as a bit on the title and the thing, I would like to advise you on what I recommend on getting used to in Clip Studio first. If you're very new to digital art, you might not understand or be overwhelmed by the amount of panels and things that you're presented with, but you really don't need to. All you need to know is how to get the pencil out of the toolbox and put stuff down on this canvas that you've made. So I mean, that bit is fairly obvious, but so to run through it, you just take the pencil, you have your standard color because you don't have to worry about all the stuff you see on screen right now. There's like intermediary colors and histories and other things, but if you just plan on getting used to things, you will automatically get good at this stuff. And the only way you're going to get better at anything specifically in the art field is by doing it. So even with this software, which is extremely specialized for comics, for example, this is one of the only softwares that have a comic panel creation tool and a comic call out creation tool. So like you can make voice things, voice call outs in the software itself, and they're all changeable, and you can make panels, and you can pretty much like edit that to anything you want it to be like. And outside of that, if you are just looking for an illustration software like what I am doing right now, this is one of the best things. You have all the blending modes you could ever need. Blending modes are essentially like things that enhance your drawing by taking the layer below it and adding some sort of effect to it, whether it be multiply or screen, which makes it lighter and darker, or playing with hue and saturation. All of that stuff exists within the software, and you really don't need command over everything, but you do have the option to have that as well. So the best thing to do when you first get Clip Studio is to just find an artist who draws in Clip Studio, who mainly uses that, and you can pretty much just follow their workflow for a while, and then you will develop your own workflow. That is how this software works. It's extremely easy to get used to once you start doing it. So it doesn't really depend on what sort of tablet you have. It might be easier or more difficult depending on what kind of thing you have, but it still doesn't change that drastically. The learning curve may be steep or maybe quite easy to manage, but you still overall have a great experience with the software. There's another whole side to Clip Studio that you probably wouldn't necessarily assume if you went to it completely blind, but this is also a software that doubles as an animation software. For example, to be more specific, it's 2D animation, but recently they have also added like variable camera angles and camera set and follow and keyframing and everything like that. But outside of that, it basically emulates like animating on paper, but on digital canvas. You can basically do pretty much anything. If you watched any anime in the last like 10 years, Clip Studio is probably used in some part of some iteration of some like scene that you like. And that truly is like one of the coolest things about this software. It is so versatile. You can do everything from comics to fanzines to illustrations to animation, and all of these can be done to the most professional degree. Overall though, I think the most compelling thing that Clip Studio does is that it gives an artist, a new one or an old one, whoever wants to pick up the digital art brush, a really good option. Because digital art can be so crazily competitive, and it can also be extremely tiring to get used to, because there's so much information that it almost overloads you. There are thousands of masters and thousands of students in digital art, and that's crazy for anything. But I feel like softwares like Clip Studio have everything else you need, everything and all the things you will ever need for digital art in one small package that is generally accessible, that makes it one of the most compelling offers that a new artist can, well, go towards. So I would definitely recommend Clip Studio, although I have used a lot of other software as well. I use a lot of software on a daily basis because of the things I have to do, but I feel like no matter where I go, I'll always come back to CSP because that genuinely feels like the best comfort software for digital art. And I truly hope you try it out. It's really good. Really, really good. And I don't need to do a tutorial on it because the second million. Literally just Google it. But like I said, information overload. So try to learn as much as you can yourself. And then when you don't know something, that's when you Google. Alright, I'll see you soon.